Hello my friends, Late Boy Scout here, and this video is for those of you who have been interested in cold steel machetes, but have yet to pull the trigger on one because you're not sure about what kind of an edge they come with. Sure, they're cool looking, yeah, they're inexpensive, but are they going to be usable right out of the box? I can tell you the short answer is no, not really. They don't come with much of an edge straight out of the box. Here is one cold steel machete and the edge that it comes with. Here's another cold steel machete and the edge that I put on it myself with this here sharpener. Look for another video of this sharpener and how I did that sharpening job. But let's test these two machetes against a variety of materials, and I'll show you the difference between these two edges. So let's introduce some of the materials here. There's going to be a little bit of pine wood. These are 1 inch by, 1 inch by 2 inch wood slats that I'm going to be sort of chopping away at. This is probably the material that the dull machete is going to have the easiest time with, simply because of velocity and the softness of pine. But in addition to that, we're going to challenge it with some plastic bottles, soda bottles. Maybe here's a 2-liter one that we'll test one of those on. Some paracord, that's 550 cord. Some sheets of paper. This is slightly heavier than some of the cheap stuff you get. I don't know what the poundage is on it, but it's still paper. All right. Then a little bit of cardboard. Don't tell the U.S. Postal Service that I'm using one of their boxes for testing. Let's get to work. Let's try first. Let's show you what kind of a shabby edge this straight out of the box cold steel machete has. Now we'll start with this pine right here because, as I said, we're probably going to have some of the best luck against some soft pine like this. Okay, we got a little bit removed there, coming right off the block of wood. So without a doubt, you can do some damage with one of these machetes straight out of the box. No sharpening, you can do some damage to some pine and softer woods, no doubt about that. Let's go on to some tougher materials, that is to say harder to cut materials for something that's dull, and see how this machete does. Here's that cardboard. Let's just go ahead and slice away at it as I would with a pocket knife. Well, you can see it's not hard to tell that this is some pretty difficult material for this dull machete. That dullness is really being displayed with material like this. Alright, let's move on to something else. How about a plastic soda bottle? Now this is something you should probably have a pretty sharp blade for in order to just sort of peel into it. Let's see how we do. Well, we're kind of scratching the surface a little bit, but if I had some velocity, I might be able to chop away at it. The point doesn't even want to go through there, really. Again, if this were filled with water and I was chopping away at it, it might actually go through. But just sort of slicing at it, it's not putting any kind of a cut through it. Onto some sheets of paper. I don't expect good things. Well, not too bad actually. Not that great, but not too bad. It's tearing away a bit, you can tell. Okay. Made a mess of that sheet of paper. Now onto something you really ought to have a decent edge for. A little bit of 550 cord. Wow, that took some sawing. If I just pull at it, it does not want to go. It does not want to cut at all. Look at that. I went the entire length of the blade and it didn't cut through. Twice. Oh, there it finally went. We'll get it a little bit down here. We'll go the entire length of the blade and see if it'll cut in one swipe. Let's pull back on that a little bit. No, it did not. In one swipe, it would not cut through that cord. Second one, it would. That's what you've got with a dull cold steel machete straight out of the box. Let's now move on to the machete that I've actually sharpened. It's got a pretty good edge on it now. And let's try all those materials again with this machete, starting with the pine. Not too bad. Again, not too bad. Coming in at an angle once more. Yeah, that's deep. One thing I can really say about the sharpened machete versus the non-sharpened machete is the way those cuts look. You can see that this one is fairly rough looking. I hope you can see that. But that one's got some really rough texture going on in there, whereas this one, you can see the grain of that wood underneath the cut. You can really tell that's a nice clean cut. Now let's go to that same bit of cardboard that I was working on before and see if this one does any better. Okay, easily it's better. It's actually slicing through the cardboard as opposed to just sort of forcing its way through. Can it force its way through this water bottle, which the unsharpened machete failed so miserably on? Let's clean that edge off just a little bit and give it a try. Oh, that was easy. Oh yeah. Definitely. So opening packages, using really kind of doing some detailed cuts with a nice sharpened machete, no problem. The unsharpened one, forget about it. On to the paper cut test. All right. Now that's what it ought to be doing. It's still tearing a little bit in spots. You can see that. I think it has a lot to do with the grain of the paper. Or maybe some of the junk that's on the blade, and it kind of just tore that whole thing right there. Let's try another one. Come on. There we go. That's what I like to see. You see that? That's the kind of cuts you want to see from a sharp knife. The dull one couldn't do that. No way. And lastly, the paracord. The dull blade had a really hard time getting through with this. Let's see how the sharpened one does. Yep, pretty easy. Now we can wrap that around this skinny part of the blade. And let's see if I can just pull at it. No problem. Get it a little further down on the belly here, maybe towards the tip. Yep. Pull. So in conclusion, the sharpened machete did a lot better than the dull machete. Well, duh, of course it did. The real point of this test was to demonstrate and show you how pretty bad the cold steel machete edges are straight out of the box. If you're ordering one of these machetes and you don't have a means to sharpen it when it comes to you, don't expect some really, really good performance out of it. Does that mean that it's not a good machete? No, I don't think so. I think that there's a lot of machetes that probably come dull straight out of the box. It's up to you to get it to the edge that you want it to have. And as we discovered in chopping through some of that pine, even if you have a dull edge on your machete, you're probably going to get some, some good utility work as far as pruning and sort of whacking away at foliage. You're going to be able to get that kind of work done anyway, even without sharpening it. But my oh my, how much more work are you going to be able to get done with a nice sharp edge? Alright guys, that's all I wanted to show you today. Cold steel machetes, not passing any kind of judgment on them here, just demonstrating and letting you guys know what kind of an edge they come with out of the box. I'm the Late Boy Scout. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.